you're looking at title records on a property, you're looking at land records, and you want to try to find all the liens on a property. What liens could be hidden on real estate? Hello, this is Dave at TitleSearch.com, and today this video is going to give you at least 10 examples of liens which may be hidden that will not be readily available or observable in land records documents. One perfect example is past due real estate taxes. Let's say, for example, somebody owns a property and it's at, let's say, 12 Main Street, and the taxes are due on January 1st. The real estate property taxes are due January 1st. January 1st rolls around and the owner of that property does not pay their real estate taxes. Well, that's not going to show up as a lien on that property. January may roll around, February, March, April, May. It may be till the end of the year when that property even has a lien on it for delinquent taxes. Now, if you go look at the tax assessor's office, it'll show that the taxes have not been paid. It may not even show them as being delinquent for a year. 1 or 2 years may go by in some counties before that assessor will record it as an actual tax lien. However, those taxes are still due. There's still an encumbrance on that property. Anybody who purchases it after that date will be liable for those taxes. So those past due taxes will not be a lien, so they will not show up in the land records. They have to be looked elsewhere. That's one example of a hidden lien. Example number 2 is a civil court judgment. If the property owner is sued in small claims court or civil court, they lose a judgment against them even for a small amount like $500. That civil court record in small claims court will not show up on the land records. It will not show up on the property title. So why does that count as a lien? Well, in almost every county across the country, a civil court judgment against a property owner automatically attaches to that property by state law. So that will be a lien on that property even though it doesn't show up on the title. What about something, as an example number 3, that's against an owner who's not currently on title? If you do a title search against an owner's name and there's a lien against a different name who was on title before, that may attach to the property but will not be discovered in a current title search. That also applies if the name has been changed. If somebody's name is John Smith and he has a lien against him, and let's say 5 years later he changes his name to, Bob Jones, and you're only searching for the title for Bob Jones, that lien will not show up. That will be a hidden lien. Number 4 is a mechanic's lien. In almost every state, there are provisions to protect contractors and companies that provide materials to a property for the payment of those services. So if, let's say, you do a roof on a house and you don't pay the company that delivered the shingles to the driveway, and that company does not even file a lien for 6 months or so, during that 6 months, there will not be a lien showing on title, but that company has a valid lien against that property by statute, by state law. You run a title search, that lien will not show up, but that claim will be against the property legally. Number 5, UCC records on fixtures. If you have a property, especially a commercial property, where there are business fixtures attached to the property, the lien or loan against those fixtures may not be recorded in the land records. They might be at the Secretary of State's office as a UCC-1 filing. That is a valid lien. It may not show up in the land records. That could be a hidden lien. Correspondingly, number 6 is sales taxes due for a business owner. In some states, if you own a business and part of that business is selling retail to the public, let's say if I sell you this roll of Scotch tape and the Scotch tape costs $1 and there's a 7-cent sales tax on that Scotch tape, I collect that as a business owner, and then at some point I'm supposed to give that to the state, maybe monthly, maybe quarterly, to pass along the money I collected on behalf of the state. If I'm a business owner and I keep that money and never send it to the state, they have a valid lien against me and possibly every piece of property I own in that state or county. So that sales tax delinquency may not show up on the property record, but it may be a valid lien against that property. Hidden lien number 6. Hidden lien number 7. This is a very interesting example. There is a facet of federal law called FERPA. It stands for Foreign Investment Real Property Tax Act. Doesn't matter what it stands for. What it says is, if you're a foreign national and you own property in this country and you sell it, there's supposed to be a 10% withholding of that sale price to go to pay for income tax or federal tax. So if I sell a property and let's say I'm a national of another country, let's say I'm from Canada, and I sell a property in the United States for $100,000, I'm supposed to reserve out 10% of that to pay for taxes or to allow for taxes. If that 10% is not withheld by the title company or the escrow company, that automatically becomes a lien on that property, even for the next owner. So it's supposed to be noticed when a seller fills out an affidavit saying that they're a U.S. citizen. If that affidavit is not done, or it's done incorrectly or done fraudulently, that 10% withholding becomes a lien on the property, a hidden lien for the next owner. Hidden lien number 8, homeowner association. In almost every state, there are protections for a homeowner association to have their dues paid. If their dues are not paid, it becomes a lien by statute or by law, or possibly by the homeowner's declaration against that property. It may even become a priority over the first mortgage, meaning that if a first mortgage is foreclosed, it does not get wiped out. Now, future investors or future owners may not be aware of this because it's not going to show up in the land records. It happens automatically. So it's important in a homeowner association or condo development to check the status of those homeowner association fees being paid or not. Hidden lien number 9, spouse's marriage rights. Suppose John Smith owns a property by himself on the deed. He becomes married at some point during owning that property, and then later on sells the property and he just signs off on the deed himself. Well, in some states, a spouse, even not listed on title, has certain marriage rights to that property and the proceeds. If that's not accounted for at the closing, that spouse may later go ahead and file a lien. That lien is valid even though he or she is not on title. So it's important to check the marriage status of a seller, because property rights accrue to a spouse even if it's solely owned by the other spouse. Hidden lien number 10, an incorrect lien release. There may be a mortgage on a property, there may be a lien on a property that appears to be released by a separate document. If that document is incorrect or filed, let's say, with an error on it, it may be rescinded and that lien becomes active again. Here's a bonus hidden lien, number 11, by the IRS. Estate tax on a property. It can accrue if somebody passes away and they have an estate or goes through probate. There's supposed to be a withholding of some of the funds for that property to cover estate taxes. That property is supposed to go on an estate tax return. If it's not listed on that return, the IRS, the federal government, did not get their share of those proceeds. Even if an innocent third party buys that property later or it's transferred later, that lien may come back to haunt future owners. This is just an example of 10 or 11 different types of liens that could be hidden on a property. It's important to make sure when you're running a title search that you know the reason for the search, you know what's being searched, you know what's included on that title search, and what may be missing. Because if you are liable for future claims against a property, these types of hidden liens can become issues for payment for a third party that didn't know anything about them or bought a property from somebody who maybe didn't even know about that themselves. So title insurance can cover some of these. A good title search can catch most of them, but there still may be things that are hidden because they're not in the land records. If you have questions about what type of liens may be on a property that we can answer, please reach us at titlesearch.com. These, by all means, are not all the examples of hidden liens, and of course it's not legal advice. It just gives you an idea of what goes into a title search and what type of liens may be hidden behind the scenes that you want to get an expert to try to find for you.